All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Mataji, my voice is okay, right? There is no background disturbance or anything, right, Mataji?
No, Mataji, it's perfect.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Padma Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the assembled devotees. This is Indulekha Karuna Devi Dasi from Lakeland.
Hare Krishna Indulekha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Padma Mataji, please accept.
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Padma Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. And to all the assembled devotees, this is Megha from Naperville. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Megha Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Shri Guru and Gauranga and all the assembled devotees. Yashamati from Chicago.
Hare Krishna Yashamat Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Padma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. This is Shyama Gauri Devi Dasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna Shyamagauri Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. All glories to assembled devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Aji Padma Mataji, Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnava. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev Vijay, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna Vrinda Gupta Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. This is Valli from Naperville, Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Valli Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Padma Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees. This is Anita Ramya from Sharjah.
Hare Krishna Anita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for joining the call, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Anybody who would like to introduce themselves? If there are nobody, we welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call once again. Today we are fortunate to have His Grace Keshavanand Prabhu for enlightening. Today we are fortunate to have His Grace Keshavanand Prabhu for enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, 9th chapter and 10th verse. I would like to give to Tiffany Mataji for giving brief introduction about Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji. Please take over the call.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today, we are so fortunate to have with us His Grace Dr. Keshavanand Prabhu. Prabhuji was a professional doctor for many years, and he is now a practicing monk. For the last 20 years, he has conducted extensive research and authored books in the field of science and spirituality. He feels the rift between science and spirituality must disappear to bring peace to the world. If spirituality is a superstition and myth, science is materialistic and atheistic. A new approach to life is needed today that can bring the best of both. Science must re-embrace spirituality and be humble to admit its defects, flaws, and ignorance, and spirituality must base itself on sound, scientific, and rational ideas. Dr. Keshavanand Prabhu has studied both Vedic and Western philosophy. Besides learning Sanskrit, he has also learned Bengali, Gujarati, Marathi, Kannada, to know about other traditions. His persistent endeavor in the field of science and spirituality has enabled him to develop seminars on diverse topics like science and the Vedas, mind and machines, science fails to explain life, consciousness and beyond, etc. He has presented all of these in various colleges in India, Europe, and America. Under the guidance of his spiritual master, excuse me, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami, he has also started a Gurukul, a traditional system of Vedic education in Punjab, India, where children learn the ancient Vedic culture and values. Besides this, he has started a farm community. The community has a traditional way of living with mud huts and thatch roofs, with cows, and of course, farming. The communities will set a model for the world to show how to live a life based on the principle of simple living and high thinking. Hare Krishna. So happy to have Prabhuji with us today.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Do we have Prabhuji on the call yet?
Not yet, Mataji.
Krishna, okay. Maybe we'll continue to chant Mataji or read the verse.
We can read the verse, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji, thank you.
Hare Krishna. We will be reading from Canto 6, Chapter 9, Text 10. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Dravya bhuyo varenapas turiyam jagrurmalam. Turiyam jagrurmalam. Taso budbhuda fenabhyam drishtam tadharati shipan. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And in return for King Indra's benediction that water would increase the volume of other substances with which it was mixed, water accepted 1/4 of the sinful reactions. Therefore, there are bubbles and foam in water. When one collects water, these should be avoided. Purport. If water is mixed with milk, fruit juice, or other similar substances, it increases their volume, and no one can understand which has increased. In return for this benediction, water accepted 1/4 of Indra's sinful reaction. These sinful reactions are visible in foam and bubbles. Therefore, one should avoid foam and bubbles while collecting drinking water. Hare Krishna.
We can't even hear.
Mataji, unmute yourself, Mataji, please.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable time association this morning for us, enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 9th chapter, and 10th verse. Thank you, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances. Please take over the call from here, Prabhuji. We just read the verse also, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Tam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachani Nirvisheshunyavati Paschatishta. Okay, so we are discussing the 6th canto. And here Indra, he has given one benediction to water and also one curse. That was the idea. The context is Indra has the sin of killing a Brahmana, and he is trying to distribute those sins to other living entities. And with that, he's giving a benediction. He didn't really neutralize the sin. He accepted it, and then he's distributing to other living beings, including water. So here in the verse it says, Dravya bhuyo varena apaha. Of dravya means of all things. Apa means water. So he was distributing this sins to so many dravya like trees and women, and now he distributes it to water. And the benediction he gives is dravya bhuyo. Dravya bhuyo means anywhere if water is mixed with any substance, dravya, bhuyo means increase. The quantity will increase. The idea is, in Ayurveda it is said, if you mix anything in water, the substance doesn't lose its potency and it doesn't change its potency. If you mix anything with anything, the properties change. But if you mix water, the properties will not change. Rather, the volume of that substance will increase. And that is why Krishna says, Rasoham Sukanteya. I am the taste of water, because water is tasteless. Water is tasteless because Krishna is a taste of water, and people don't know Krishna, so they cannot taste the taste of water. Srila Prabhupada, in one of the interviews, they were asking Prabhupada, how can we remember Krishna 24 hours? Prabhupada said, when you drink water, remember the taste of water is Krishna. But taste of water is a tasteless, isn't it? So the idea is, water is having no taste because we don't realize that, because we are not self-realized, so we cannot taste the taste of water. And that is why Srila Prabhupada could understand that the taste of water is Krishna. But empirically, objectively looking, the water doesn't have any taste. And that is why it's a unique property of water, that if it is mixed with any substance, the substance quantity will increase, but the point is the properties don't decrease, the properties remain the same. If you see Atharvaveda or any Vedas, many diseases, Atharvaveda, it mentions cure for many diseases. It says that many of the diseases can be treated solely by water. Water is also a medicine for so many diseases if we know how to use it. And of course, Srila Prabhupada was expert in hydrotherapy. Prabhupada, I think he wrote a book also before, when he was practicing medicine, on how to treat diseases through water. He wrote a book, by the way. So here it is mentioned about water, apaha. And Indra, he gave a benediction to water, okay, that if you're mixed with any substance, the substance quantity shall increase. But then it also gave, Indra also distributed, he also gave 1/4 of his sin of killing a Brahmana to the water. Indra killed this Vishrup. He cut his head because Vishrup was giving some portion of the yagya to demons as well as demigods, but the yagya was done for demigods, for the betterment of demigods. But because Indra lost the battle with demons, so he wanted to win them back. But Vishrup, he was dividing the results, and Indra came to know, and out of fear he cut his head. And so 1/4 sin he gave to water, and the effect was tasu buddha fenabhyam. 1/4 of the sin of the water, Prabhupada says, therefore there are bubbles and foam in the water. When one collects water, these should be avoided. So whenever we see bubbles and foam in the water, this means that water has to be discarded. That is Ayurvedic knowledge. That means that water has become contaminated. So he gave this. Water ideally doesn't become contaminated at any time. In Veda dictionary, if you see the synonym of purity, pure, one of the synonym of pure is honey, ghee, that's also considered pure. Milk is considered pure. Of course, devotee's heart, that's also pure. And water is also considered pure. That's why you see in all the all the worship, before doing any worship, we do achmana. And that's simply by water, 1 drop of water. And that makes the person pure. So water in itself has a purifying capacity. And that is why there are so many hymns dedicated to Abha. In Vedic worldview, Agni is praised. Varuna is also praised a lot. Varuna, Agni, there are so many hymns for Varuna because water is considered to be pure. In fact, the oceans and the rivers are considered to be pure and holy. All the rivers, regardless of the fact where they are, they're considered holy. All the oceans, regardless of fact where they are, they're considered holy because there is water. So that's what Indra did. But the question is, Indra got the sin of killing Brahmana. Here, one of the point which is raised, one of the question raised is, Indra is a devotee, by the way. I mean to say, we think Indra is not a pure devotee, but at least according to Madhva Sampradaya, he's a pure devotee. At least he's a much better devotee than all of us. He's a devotee. So why did Krishna didn't? So why didn't he neutralize his sins by doing bhakti? Now the answer to this question is, he could have done bhakti and neutralized his sin, but he didn't do that because he knew that was that 7th offense, Nam no baladese papa buddhi, to counteract sins on the strength of devotion is an offense. So although he was a devotee, he didn't counteract sinful reactions using the power of his devotion. He would have done that, but he didn't do that. But that would have been an offense. But another question is, why is he distributing those sins to other living and to other people? 1/4 sins went to the land, 1/4 sins to the trees, 1/4 sins to the woman, and 1/4 sins to water. Why is distributing? Why doesn't he really accept those sins and suffer for them? That's one question. Second question is, why didn't Krishna, if he's such a pure devotee? Indra is such a pure devotee that whenever he does sacrifice in his heaven, it said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Goswami says that Vishnu personally comes to accept the offerings. Like he personally comes and he accepts offerings in his hand, because Vishnu is actually younger brother of Indra, as Vamandev. He accepts the position of younger brother of Indra, and that's why one of the name of Vishnu is Upendra. So he personally comes and he accepts the offerings in his hand. Indra gives his offerings in the hand, and in front of Indra, Vishnu eats those offerings. It's not just abstract what we do here. He eats, and that is why there's a Sakhiras between Indra and Vishnu. Indra is in Sakhiras, according to Sanatana Goswami. He's in a friendly relationship. And Sanatana Goswami says many times Vishnu comes and Indra talks with him and he jokes with him and he takes counseling from him, what to do, what not to do, and that's the relationship with him. So why didn't Vishnu forgive him through his own mercy? I mean, okay, fine. Indra didn't counteract his sins through devotion, but Krishna would have equally, or Vishnu would have equally forgiven. Okay, fine, by my mercy your sins are reduced. Don't worry about that. We always hear that for a devotee, God reduces the sins. If a devotee has to have a major accident, he will just have some nail pricked on his feet due to mercy of God. So where is the mercy of God in the case of Indra? Now, here the point is, the answer to this question is, we have to understand what do we mean by justice. That's a very important point there. Justice and mercy. Now, remember, Indra is a king himself, and he is also justice personified in the heavenly realm. A king has to be completely on. A king has to be perfectly has to rule the kingdom through justice. Otherwise, he's no longer a king. So in his case, there has to be justice. Now, what is justice? In Sanskrit, justice is called as ritam, rita. law, justice. And the rule is a sin and an offense cannot be pardoned. Sin and offense cannot be pardoned. Justice says that there should be punishment for sin and an offense. There must be punishment. The person who is doing sin and offense, he might feel guilty. He can feel guilty, and that guilt helps him not to repeat those sins and that offense, but the punishment has to be given. Why? Because if we don't give punishment, then three things happen. First, you encourage the person who is doing an offense. He'll repeat it again and again. Second, you encourage others to do that sin because that person is also punished. So it gives a leeway for others. Okay, we can also do it and we can escape. And the most important point is, if the person is not punished, then justice becomes weaker. It becomes weak. People then no longer take the laws as strong laws. They think laws and this punish their justice is a weak. So then they can do anything. They lose a fear of justice. That's a very important point. So because of these three reasons, sin and offense must be punished. They cannot be foregone. Okay, fine. Through mercy, we relieve you from sin and offenses. No, they have to be punished. But what happens through the mercy of God? Through the mercy of God, our offenses or sins, it's not that our offenses or sins will not be punished and we can forego them. That will not happen. We will be punished accordingly. Whatever is just. But the point is, what happens is through God's mercy, when we are undergoing those punishments, through His mercy, we will learn many things rather than de-learning things and becoming depressed and becoming confused. We will learn many things and we'll elevate. That's the role of mercy of God. The mercy of God doesn't reduce your sufferings or reduce your punishment. That doesn't happen. Although the glory of devotion is, glory of holy name is that it reduces the sufferings. It is said, if you chant the holy names, your sufferings will be reduced. But that sufferings will not be reduced in the sense that that suffering per se will be reduced. The experience of the sufferings will be reduced. Sufferings will come, but you will not experience the sorrow and the pain of the sufferings. Rather, you will experience joy in those sufferings because you'll be learning many things. That's the idea. That's the usual take of Krishna. Of course, extraordinary mercy of Krishna. He can definitely interfere with the laws of karma, and he can reduce punishments, he can reduce sins, but that's not the usual course. He doesn't do that. Because if he keeps on doing that, then the justice becomes weaker. And the weakness of justice will be contributed to the mercy. Mercy has to be blamed for making justice weak, and that will be a real problem there. So Krishna doesn't want mercy to be blamed to make justice weak. That's not the point. And that is why when Krishna deals with devotees, there is always a tussle between justice and mercy. There's always a tussle. So how to, if we are too merciful, justice becomes weak. If we are too just, then there is no mercy. It's a problem there. So how Krishna handles the whole situation is he lets the punishment and the hardships come. He doesn't interfere with that. So he can say, okay, justice has been done. But out of his mercy, within he makes the devotee strong within his heart. And he gives him the ability to understand why he's being punished. And he gives the ability to him to correct himself. That's what he's doing within the heart. Dadami buddhi yogantam, that's what he does. And that's why Bhishmapitamah, you see, Bhishmapitamah is a Mahajan. Why he suffered? Why he suffered? Like he was pierced in an entire body with his arrows. And Krishna asked what happened, and he said, well, 50 lives back, he pricked a small insect in his whole body, and that reaction came in this life as he's being pricked in his whole body with arrows of Arjuna. He got the reaction, in spite of the fact he's a Mahajana. But through the mercy of God, he didn't forget Krishna in that whole experience. That was Krishna's mercy. So for conditioned being, we think mercy of God is, okay, our problems will be reduced, our sufferings will be reduced. We think on a very mundane level. But as far as pure devotees, they don't think like that. They pray to Krishna, Krishna, let me suffer for my own karmas. They pray, let me suffer for my own karmas. I don't want my karmas to be nullified by the power of your holy name. But please let me remember you in all conditions. So a devotee doesn't interfere within the plan of Krishna, within the cosmic order. He doesn't want to destroy the quality of justice of Krishna. If you pray to Krishna, Krishna, please help me, I have so many problems, and please, I'm feeling so much suffering, and please reduce this so that I can do bhakti nicely. Well, Krishna can do that, but what is happening is we are actually interfering in the cosmic law and cosmic justice, and we are making Krishna weak in the eyes of people. People will say, well, okay, Krishna reduced his suffering, so his justice is weak. And that devotee doesn't want. That's why devotee prays, let me suffer my own karmas, no problem. Why he's praying that? Because he doesn't want to take service from God, and he doesn't want to make God, Krishna, look weak in front of others. Doesn't want him to look weak, that he has to give special favor to somebody and break all the laws. He doesn't want him to look like that. He wants Krishna to look as perfect justice doer. That's all he wants, isn't it? He's a perfect justice doer. People will praise him. In Vishnu Sahasranam, there are so many names for Krishna where the praise is given to Krishna. He's a perfect justice supplier. He perfectly does justice. What's the name? Is there any name like that? I forgot. Justice. One of the name of Vishnu is Ritambhara. Ritambhara. Bhara means full. Ritam matlab justice. Is full of justice. And I have to check Vishnu Sahasranam. I just forgot. Nyayadhish. He's also called Nyayadhish. And Vishnu Sahasranam, there are so many names. I just couldn't get it. But anyway. So Nyayadhish also means he is a Lord of justice. So that is why devotee doesn't want favors from Krishna. Favors from Krishna can help you, but it doesn't help God. It doesn't help Krishna. It makes Krishna look weak and fool in front of everybody. He's going out of the way. Of course, out of his own will, Krishna can go out of the way to help his devotees. That's his discretion, whenever he wants. But devotee doesn't want that, to pray like that. And devotee says, Krishna, you don't have to go out of the way to help me. Please don't do that. Don't do that. Don't take pains for me. Don't serve me. Let me serve you and let me suffer my own karmas, whatever I have in my Lord. And that is why Indra didn't want Vishnu to reduce his sins, and that is why his sins were the same. Is there any word for justice? Vishnu's name? No. Okay. So, Indra. That's why Indra. First of all, Indra didn't use bhakti to neutralize his sins. Second, even Krishna didn't neutralize his sins, because Indra didn't want him to neutralize his sins. He didn't. He's a. No, I didn't find it. Huh? I didn't find it. Okay. Google also is not correct. His whole this whole incident of Indra doesn't show Indra is a foolish person. He's not a foolish person. He's a pure devotee. That's what it shows. Now the question is, why Indra is distributing sins to others? Why is not like, if he's such a pure devotee, okay, let me suffer my own karmas, and so but he's distributing these karma, sinful reactions to land, water, female, and water. Why is doing that? If he's such a pure devotee, he can suffer equally those things, but he's not doing that because Indra knows that he's a devotee, but at the same time, Indra knows he's also a king. And it is said in Dharma Shastras, said in scripture, the king must protect himself for the benefit of others. That's the idea. A king who doesn't protect himself is actually harming his subjects. Because without a king, there's anarchy. There's nobody to really rule them and guide them. So Indra is not protecting himself. Indra is protecting people of heaven who are under him. So that is why when a king protects himself, it is not a selfish act. When a king protects himself, he's protecting the whole country and the whole kingdom. Because a king is identified with the kingdom. He's inseparable with them. So that's why Indra didn't want it to suffer the sinful reactions, because if he starts suffering the sinful reactions, already they are weak, already they are defeated by demons. And now Indra is also gone. So everything will be gone, everything will be finished. Demons will know, okay, now Indra is also gone, so let's destroy heaven forever. Indra didn't want that. So he wanted to distribute it to others. So you see the point, what Indra is showing. Indra is showing that a devotee must also be intelligent. He should not be a fool. Foolish devotees are simply a burden on Krishna. That's what I think one of the Bhakti Sandhya Thakur used to say. Foolish devotees are a burden on Krishna. In modern age, foolish devotees might be equated with simple devotees, but they are a burden on Krishna. That's why Prabhupada said we need devotees with Kshatriya spirit and Brahmanical nature. We want devotees with Kshatriya spirit who can do activities and Brahmanical nature, very intelligent, so that they don't become burden on Krishna. That's why Bhakti Sandhya used to say that in our Gaudiya Vaishnavism, we can develop a relationship with Krishna as a friend, as a lover, as a father, but never as a son. In Vatsalya, it can't be that we are son and he is God. And he was referring to Christianity, by the way. Christ used to say, my father and I'm his son, no? Bhakti Sandhya says that's not what our take is. Because if we are son and he is father, then he has to take care of us. And that's a big problem. So he said that we want to become father of Krishna so that we take care of him. It's a very different conception, Gaudiya Vaishnava conception. So Indra is not a fool. He's a devotee, and he did what has to be done. He didn't use his devotion. He didn't let Krishna look weak in front of others. He accepted the sins. But it's not necessary that you have to suffer them. Just like Devarshi Narad said, so one of the snake was there. There was a snake and it was very violent. It used to kill people. So Narad Muni went and he said to snake, why are you killing people? So the snake said, well, these people, they want to kill me, so I have to kill them in my defense. Narad Muni says, no, you can simply, so you don't kill them, you tolerate, become a devotee. The snake became a devotee, and then after some time Narad Muni came and the snake was completely wounded. He said, what happened? So then the snake said, well, you said to me to be tolerant, and then now students are like throwing stones at me, and we are completely wounded. Narad Muni says, you're a fool. I told you not to kill them, but you can always raise your hood and make them fearful so that they don't beat you up. So that's some common sense. So it's not necessary that you suffer sinful reactions. For example, we don't pray to Krishna, Krishna, please alleviate our sinful reactions. So out of sin, suppose when we become diseased, we accept disease, okay, it's our karmas. But we are not foolish that we can continue suffering our disease. You can take medicines and cure yourself. That's what is happening with Indra. You can cure yourself. But when we cure ourselves, the consciousness should be that you're curing yourself not for the benefit of yourself. You're curing yourself because his body belongs to Krishna. That's the idea. Indra is trying to distribute sins, not to save himself. He could have suffered sins. That's no problem for him. But to save others, he did that. So we are taking medicine not to save ourselves, but to save this body, which is a gift of Krishna and it belongs to him. That's the whole idea there. So that's it. So that's why many devotees say, okay, well, when you become diseased, you should tolerate, and that's mercy of God. Why do we want to take medicines? You should rather take the holy names of God, isn't it? And Krishna will decide that's foolishness. First of all, we don't want to take holy name and ask favor of holy name that he should treat our disease. Second of all, we don't want Krishna to decide that our disease should stay or go. That's a wrong take. We are trying to take service from Krishna. It's rather the opposite thing. When we become diseased, we do all kind of medicines, cure our disease, and we don't give Krishna a chance to think about us and serve us. That's all. It's neither necessary to serve, it's neither necessary to suffer the sinful reactions, and it's neither necessary also to not to actually find a way to get actually free from them. We don't use bhakti to become free of sinful reactions, but we can use other means. That's all. For example, medicines or some, of course, we don't use astrology. There are certain remedial measures in astrology to free ourselves from sinful reactions. But we don't use that because in those remedial measures, there are deities and hosts and universal planets involved. And we don't want to go through that route because that will destroy our faith. Because then there are people involved there. So then we might tend to think, okay, that's also powerful and we got help from there. And faith and love will get distributed. But we can do medicines, that's all. That's okay. There's no question. There's no person involved in that. So there is no question of transfer of faith in a person and an exchange of emotions. That's the whole idea. So that's why Indra's actions are perfectly justified. That's my whole point. His distribution of sins is not his cowardliness. That's the whole point. And it's not, and it's neither selfishness. He's not being selfish. He's trying to do everything according to religious scriptures and dharma and religious principles. That's what he's trying to do. And he's teaching us equally that you accept whatever comes, but you can find a way to get rid of it just to serve Krishna more. That's all. That's it. That's all. That's Gaur Kishor's Babaji, he got blind. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur told him that, and Gaur Kishor Babaji used to give some money to Bhaktivinoda Thakur to keep. Like some people used to come and give him donations. So he used to give Bhaktivinoda Thakur to keep in the bank. So I think they, over the period of time, Bhaktivinoda Thakur collected 100 rupees. Like 100 rupees of Gaur Kishor Babaji. At that time, 100 rupees is like 100 years back, 100 rupees is how much? 10 lakh something. So 10 lakh. 10 lakh. Gaur Kishor Babaji had 10 lakh rupees. He was Babaji, but he owned 10 lakh rupees, which was kept in the custody of Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his bank. So he got blind due to not eating properly and doing all kind of austerities. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, okay, let's go to Calcutta and you have money and you can treat yourself and get your eyes back. Gaur Kishor Babaji said, no, actually it's good if I become blind. I'll not be able to see this illusion and I'll be saved from illusion. That was his answer. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur told him, okay, that's the point, but you can equally go to Calcutta. We can treat your eyes. And Gaur Kishor Babaji had a different take on life. But we don't follow Gaur Kishor Babaji, we follow Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur was really interested to get a treatment. That was the idea. Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, he had hernia. You know that he had hernia. He had a hernia, big hernia, and he used to wear the belt, hernial belt. So many devotees asked him, you get an operation done. Bhakti said, well, that's okay, I wanted to get an operation done, but and I know that it has to be treated, otherwise there were complications, but I don't want because I know that they will kill me while being operated. He was very fearful that they'll kill him because already there were so many enemies. So somebody can bribe the doctors and say, while operation you kill him. That's why I'm not getting operated. So there was a reason. Otherwise, he would have equally got operated. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, they were consulting doctors when they were sick. But they were not. Bhaktivinoda Thakur once got a lot of headache while he was writing the book Jaiva Dharma. If you read Jaiva Dharma, it's a very complex book and complete book. He got a big headache for a month. And one Tantrik, he came, he said, okay, you take this mantra of Durga and you'll get treated tomorrow. That's no problem. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, sorry, I don't want this mantra. Because there is a deity involved here. They can be exchange of emotions. But he was taking allopathy, Ayurveda, and all this kind of treatments. So Indra is teaching us the same thing. Indra is teaching the same thing. We can apply remedial measures when there's a problem. When there's a problem in life, think properly, apply strategies. There is a whole Niti Shastra there to help you navigate at the time of problem. Apply your brain. How can this problem can be solved? Don't just foolishly suffer in the problems. That will be foolishness. That is mercy of Krishna, so we have to suffer. No, that's foolishness. Because this life doesn't belong to you. We are in service of God and we have to save time and energy. Vidurji, he says in Vidur Niti, do everything to remain healthy and save your energy and time so that you can serve Krishna. It's there in scriptures. Bhagavatam also says, to protect your health, that's not sense gratification. If there's a problem in life, to apply some solutions, that's not sense gratification. That's okay. Fine. But we don't ask God to help us in this. We neither use holy name to help us in this. That's what Indra is doing. Indra got sinful reactions. He didn't ask Krishna. He didn't start chanting holy name. Okay, we'll leave it on Krishna and Krishna will decide. No. He rather said, Krishna, it's okay. I got sins. You don't interfere in this. I don't even want you to interfere in this whole kind of scenario. It's my problem. I did this. I'll solve this. And he thought of a solution and he distributed the sins and it's done. So that's the idea. You can have solutions, you can have remedial measures in terms of medicines or something where no deities are involved, no bhoot pret or some people are involved. And you can do your best and then leave on Krishna. Srila Prabhupada always said, do your best and then leave on Krishna. Prabhupada always said that. Prabhupada didn't say, just leave on Krishna and don't try anything. He didn't say that. That's what Indra is doing, and Indra is showing how a devotee should act. Indra is teaching us how a devotee should live by his actions. So nobody should think, Indra is like he did such wrong thing, he did sin, he killed, and now he's in trouble, and he's not a devotee, he's a mixed devotee. It's not like that. Bhagavatam is not talking of anything besides pure devotion. There are incidences of mixed devotion there, but Bhagavatam is simultaneously talking about mixed devotion and pure devotion. So if you really think about it, externally it might look mixed devotion, but internally everything is pure devotion, because Bhagavatam is, what's that? Nirmalam. First 3 verses of Bhagavatam says, Bhagavatam is without any mal. Projita karita vatra. Projita karita vatra. There's no cheating in this Bhagavatam. So that's what we learned from this very incidents. Okay, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada. Is any questions anybody wants to ask anything?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for a wonderful class with all the pastimes and examples. Thank you so much, Prabhu. I don't know. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Let me unmute. Please allow the participants.
So many hands.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Prabhuji, one big question: like, is it possible now to give our sin to someone else, like Indra did? Is it possible?
No, we can't give. Indra can do that. We can't do that. It's not possible.
Yeah, otherwise people will do sin and they will distribute, like,
In Kali Yuga, it's not possible, first of all, at all.
Hello, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, Mataji.
Hi, this is Supriya. Prabhuji wanted to ask, what are the sufferings that liberated soul goes through? For a person who is already on the liberated platform, what are sufferings they experience?
What a suffering experience?
What sufferings they experience? Soul which is on the liberated platform.
Well, if they become sick, they will experience suffering. Like Prabhupada got a heart attack, or his kidney failed. So that
So
there is a pain.
can we consider that as a reaction?
Yeah, that's reaction of the disciples.
How do we justify that it's a disciple's reaction? Because on the liberated platform, there is no karma that affects the soul, and there is no concept of reaction.
On liberated platform, if you take a responsibility of a guru, then the laws of karma will start. And that's the case where guru has to take the reactions of the disciples. At least 1/8 of the sins of disciples will go to the guru. He can't avoid that.
If that is the case, that is, suppose after becoming a guru, I take the karma of my disciples. Why would anyone would choose to be a guru in that case?
Well, that's an act of mercy to help others. They're taking a risk, and to help others, they take that risk. That's all. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah. Gail Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji. If you're Sri Mataji, if you're done with your question.
Yeah, I'm done. Thank you, Prabhu.
She is.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I was not able to unmute before.
Okay.
Yeah, a few questions. On this last point about, Guru taking karma, we've heard on this forum itself that from another speaker that it doesn't actually make sense that Krishna would require the guru to take the karma of his disciple. And the rationale was given that, why would Krishna punish his pure devotee by having him take that karma when his pure devotee is trying to serve Krishna?
Yeah, but Srila Prabhupada himself said when he met an accident that I'm suffering because of you. Because your sinful reactions are transferred to me. And that's given in Dharma Shastras. A king, a husband in the family, a leader in any group, and the guru has to partake the karmas of people who are dependent on him. That's a rule of dharma. That's a rhythm. That's a cosmic law. If anybody is dependent on you, you have to take the reaction and sinful reactions of them.
Okay,
so,
but we follow Bhakti Shastra, not Dharma Shastra, isn't it?
No, it's not like that. Bhakti Shastra doesn't mean that Dharma Shastras have become useless and they are like obsolete. It's not like that. Dharma Bhakti is to do with spirit, soul, and Dharma Shastra is to do with this cosmos, and both work together. Both are working together. And that's the beauty of Bhagavad Gita, by the way. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sardharan Paritajya, but that he doesn't mean you abandon all dharma. He said, abandon all attachment to religious principles. But you have to follow religious principles. Otherwise, so for example, let me ask you, if you are following bhakti and if you eat poison, will you die or not? Tell me.
Well, it depends upon what Krishna wants for his devotees.
No. Poison is going to work. And the person is going to die. If I'm a devotee, and if I'm driving a car, and
Krishna is taking personal charge, right? So
yeah, but the devotee should not be foolish to give Krishna some service.
No. I mean to say, I'm not saying if we're saying that the devotee intentionally, but if it happens, so he's taking service from Krishna. If he intentionally, walks into danger and then expects Krishna to save him, but in the case where, it just happens,
Yeah, but but you know what, Kirtanan Maharaj, Kirtanan Swami, he started giving initiation when Prabhupada was present. And he got a lot of headaches. That's there in letters. And somebody wrote to Prabhupada, he wrote to Prabhupada, I'm getting a lot of headaches and I'm like getting mad. And Prabhupada said, stop initiating. Because you're getting karmas of disciple you are making. You are not so powerful to handle that. So that's the rule. So that's why I was talking justice. Justice is the law will work. But Krishna's mercy is the devotee doesn't, so many karma reactions will come, but due to Krishna, those karma reactions will be neutralized. And the devotee has to suffer for those reactions. Why? Because Krishna wants to glorify his devotees. That's the idea. That's his intelligence is far surpasses. He can utilize all sins. That's okay. Prabhupada was very powerful. So all the sins which were transferred, they were getting neutralized by Krishna's mercy. So that's why we don't see Prabhupada falling sick 24 hours and throughout his own career. That didn't happen. In the last days, he became sick. Now, why? Because Krishna wanted him to become sick and to show that Prabhupada said Krishna wants Prabhupada. They asked Prabhupada, why you are sick? You are a pure devotee. Prabhupada said, because Krishna is showing you how to die. And Krishna is showing you how to remember him in sufferings. So Krishna lets some sinful reactions of disciples to come. He neutralizes many of the sinful reactions. But in his wisdom, he lets some reactions to come for glorifying the devotee, that to show that in such problems also that devotee is actually remembering him, and also to help people understand, show them how to do devotion when you are in problems.
Okay, but that's different from saying that, allowing Krishna, allowing certain things to happen to his pure devotee is different from saying that it's a rule that, the disciples' karma must go to.
Yeah, it's a rule. It's a rule, but Krishna interferes in those rules.
Okay,
That's
so
all.
Anyway, I'm still having a problem with, our placing our faith in Dharma Shastra over Bhakti Shastra.
No, Bhakti Shastras are not in contradiction with Dharma Shastra. That's the whole point. And Bhakti Shastra never replaces Dharma Shastras. That might be a misconception in devotee community, but that's not like that. If you go to Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya, even a Gauriya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and that's actually the point there, because you see, Dharma Shastras are anukul to Bhakti Shastras, are favorable. That's why Krishna made Dharma. Why he will make Dharma? Whole creation has a purpose. The creation has a purpose that we should do devotion to him. And then to facilitate that devotion, Krishna made Dharma. So it's all in sync. We think by our small mind that, okay, Dharma Shastras, forget them and do bhakti. Then that means we are placing ourselves in an unfavorable situation and we are practicing bhakti. And that's basically the problem in now our present society, or everywhere in the modern society. That's the problem in all spiritual institutions. Practicing spirituality, but no dharma. And that's why they are facing so many problems to do devotion, because there's no dharma and people are going bonkers there.
No, I do agree that, Dharma is supposed to support our bhakti.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't have a problem with that. But, if there is some tension between bhakti and dharma, right?
Okay. Yeah. Then bhakti shastras are always overruled Dharma Shastras. That's true. That's true. You're right. At that point of time, if there's a tension there between Dharma and Bhakti, then Bhakti will overrule Dharma.
Okay. But anyway, this particular point is still, not settled for me, that, that Krishna enforces that there is even this rule among 4 devotees that that the guru must accept the karma of the disciple.
No, but then, okay, fine. If you say it's not a rule, then what do we say? It's not a rule or what? It's a rule, but Krishna interferes in those rules for pure devotees. That's a good way of saying it. It's a rule,
Yeah,
but he interferes in that rule for his pure devotees, and that settles, isn't it?
so then, if Krishna interferes with that rule, then it's really not a rule for devotees.
You can speak like that. You can speak like that, but that kind of language is not good to say, because it can create complications. I mean to say what you're saying, I'm saying the same thing, but the point is that kind of language might create complications, because if we say that rule doesn't apply to pure devotees, so then in the future, people will take advantage of this, and then they will exploit others on this point.
Okay, well, anyway, sincere people will understand.
Yeah, sincere people can understand. Language matters. Okay, if they're settled, then that's okay.
Okay. Another thing, Prabhu,
Yeah.
is one thing I didn't understand is, when you were saying that devotees, they don't want to take service from Krishna to solve their problems, like if they're having a disease, they will go to medicine, and so they'll try to figure it out on their own. And so I'm trying to reconcile that with the fact that, as devotees, we don't see anything as unconnected from Krishna. There isn't a sense of independence in any way, right? From Krishna. We're completely dependent on him for everything. So when we say...
Actually, I got your point. Actually, you know what? You're confusing in you see, Bhakti Santa used to say, constitutionally we are dependent, but not dispositionally. Now, there's a difference in that. Yeah. So when it comes to disposition, when it comes to function, then we have to apply a discrimination in what activities I should be dependent and what activities I should not be dependent and take service from. But constitutionally, as you're saying, because medicine also belongs to Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna, body belongs to. So that's how we should put. Constitutionally, we're dependent, but not dispositionally.
Okay, so dispositionally, even though we know that even medicine is coming from Krishna, you're saying that we should have an attitude, let me not disturb Krishna.
Yeah, right. Absolutely right. You got the point.
I mean, yeah, I'm depending on him, but like physically, constitutionally, but I am trying to also not disturb him. Okay.
Yeah.
Another thing was, when you said that devotees, their mood is to try to serve Krishna only, not have Krishna, take care of them. And so devotees don't see Krishna as father, right?
Yeah.
So I'm at our stage, or at my stage, right, where I'm not at the position of Brajbasi yet, if that will ever come, but I'm a struggling sadhaka, right? So at this stage, is it not appropriate for me to see Krishna as father and first develop that
No, actually, at our stage, it's appropriate to see him as master and be a servant, and not father as a son. In the relationship of father and son, the son expects the father to take care of him. When the relationship of master and servant, the servant knows that he has to take care of the master and servant. There's a lot of difference between those two relationships. So in struggling and as sadhaka, we always go to dasya ras. Because if we try to go in vatsalya ras, then we'll just flip off everything and we'll become sense gratifiers in the name of devotion. That's the whole problem there.
So it just seems that, we are also encouraged to see how Krishna is taking care of us also, like a parent takes care of their child. Like he's providing everything for us. We're encouraged to nourish our sense of love with Krishna by seeing how he is taking care of everything.
You're right. Krishna is taking care of us. We think about that, and that nourishes our devotion. But at the same time, it brings pain to the devotees. That's what Vishwan Chakra Thakur mentions, that when a devotee thinks that Krishna is taking care of us, they glorify the quality of Krishna. He's so they glorify this quality, Bhakt Vatsal. He takes care of his devotees. At the same time, they actually vilify. They blame themselves and they feel pain that how much Krishna has to take care of them, and he's giving so much. He's a cause that Krishna has to do something for him, and he's not able to do anything for him, and that gives a lot of pain to him. So so when he thinks about this fact that Krishna is taking care of us, it's a mixed feeling. It's some feeling of it's a mixed feeling. It's feeling that Krishna is so nice, but there's a feeling that it's so sorrow, that it's such a pity that he's doing so much for me and I'm not able to do anything for him.
Okay, but that seems to be a sentiment of a more of a sadhaka who's at a much more elevated stage.
I don't know. That's how it goes. I mean to say that is a sentiment of a sadhaka who is beginning devotion. Below that, he's not even sadhaka. We are trying to be a sadhaka, I think so. And that's where devotion begins. Because devotion is all about no sense gratification. Atmendriya priti vancha tare bodhi kam. Krishnendriya priti ichha dhare prem. So when we give pleasure to Krishna, then that is devotion. Otherwise, everything is lust. So that's what Chaitanya Prabhu says. We are not even Vaishnavas, and we are not even practicing Vaishnavas. We are like Vaishnavas.
Well,
that's
we got to start somewhere, Prabhu. I feel. We have to start somewhere. I mean, to say, if you're not there yet, right, where you are lament that Krishna is taking care of you, we cannot artificially feel like that also.
No problem. Don't artificially feel like that. But then we have to take knowledge and read Bhagavatam in that perspective. And when we read Bhagavatam in a proper perspective, then we will start getting that feelings. Below that, that's okay. We can continue, but we should think that we are not an idle platform. We have to go forward.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's so many ideals, that we cannot attain yet. There's so many ideals, but I think that's one of those ideals that, oh, Krishna, I'm so sorry you have to take trouble for me. Oh my God. That's an ideal, but at
it's
least
good
for me,
it's good if we come to that.
That's like not even on the horizon yet for me. Okay, so just last thing, I just needed to confirm that it was Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right, who had the hernia?
No, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati.
It was Bhakti Siddhanta. Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure which one of them it was.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh. Thank you, Prabhu, so much.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Balram Prabhuji, please go ahead, Prabhuji. Unmute yourself and go ahead.
Yes, Mate, thank you. Keshavanand Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
One
Hare Krishna.
Lord Indra, he as a king, if he wants to take care of the citizens, in his abode, etc., then if somehow he has to protect himself and his follower, his kith and kin in the higher planetary system. So that's why he brought Vishwaroop to do all this and get the Narayana Kavacha. So I had a couple questions, Prabhu. One is, why did he really kill? That means, suppose if somebody is against dharma and then is not helping him, so he killed him, right? So if he kills, that means there is no reaction for that. Now that's one thing. And then the second thing is, why did he really, if it is not supposed to be killed, then he really committed a crime?
So actually it's not like that, because even Vishnu doesn't want to kill Brahmanas, even if they are sinful, even if they are doing adharma. Because and that happened. I mean, when Kali Yuga came, so many demons were born as Brahmanas, and Vishnu told that, I cannot kill them simply because they are Brahmanas. Go Brahmana hitaya. Dharma forbids killing Brahmanas, even if he is going against dharma. So Brahmanas cannot be killed. Like Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama did a stupid thing, the worst thing, Krishna said, you have to kill him, but then he cannot be killed. That's all. So then they devised, they cut his hairs and all, whatever they did.
Yeah, but why did Indra do this, Prabhu?
Similarly, Twashta, he was actually giving offerings to demons and also demigods, which he was not supposed to do. Now, he was doing adharma at that point of time. So Indra, of course, he should not have killed him, because he's a Brahmana and he cannot kill him. But Bhagavatam says that he was doing such a thing in such a crisis. That's the whole point. Already demigods are lost, demons are won, and now he's there and they're doing yagya to make demigods powerful, and he's doing such an act, and in this crisis he's making demons powerful. And that in Indra's mind was actually unpardonable offense. And of course, Bhagavatam says he got really angry with that whole incident, and he killed him. So according to Madhvacharya, he didn't transgress dharma, because in dharma it is said Brahmanas can be killed in certain situations. It's not that you can never kill them. Certain situations they can be killed. Just like, for example, I'll tell you. For example, this situation, Kurukshetra.
Yeah.
And they're all Brahmanas, Dronacharya, Bhishma, and all this. And Krishna said, kill them. And Arjuna's whole point was, they're my guru, they're my relatives, they're of higher caste. How can I kill them? They're Brahmanas. They are Brahmanas and also guru. Krishna says, you're a fool, you kill them. Because, why? Because in a situation, Dharma Shastra is in a situation where the whole world is at crisis. The whole world will become in a problem. At that point, you can also kill a Brahman. So, Twashta is doing something where the whole world will go in anarchy. There will be no heavens, there will be no gods, and the earth, there will be no earth, and there will be chaos in the whole world. Whole rhythm, whole cosmic law will get disturbed, because Krishna has put demigods to actually maintain cosmic law. So everything will go upside down. So in this situation, he was right to kill Twashta. But at the same time, because he was a Brahmana, you had to have sins, because Dharma Shastra says if you kill Brahmana, you have to take sins. So, okay, he said, fine, I'll take it.
So for a devotee, Prabhu, what should we do? Do we need to follow Dharma or Sarva Dharman Parityajya?
Sarva Dharman Parityajya means you don't have to be attached to Dharma. Krishna never said you should abandon Dharma. Otherwise, the whole purpose of Krishna's incarnation goes to dustbin, Dharma Sanstapna Arthaya.
Yeah.
So this, Prabhupada says in the purport, Prabhupada says, abandon all speculated religions. Prabhupada mentions there. Speculated religions have to be abandoned, not religious principles which are said by scriptures.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I think Praveen Govind Prabhuji, please go ahead with your question, Prabhu. I think we.
Yeah, Praveen Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Can you unmute yourself, Prabhu, or should I unmute for you?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Jai.
So, Prabhu, my question is about sins. So, if a parent commits a sin, does the child have to suffer also for the sins committed by the parents?
No. Child doesn't wait, but if child commits sins, then the parents might have to suffer. Okay. Because the child is dependent on the parents. So the sin transfers from the person who is dependent to the person who is actually maintaining him. That's how sin goes. Just like a smoke goes from lower to higher, sins goes from lower to higher.
Okay, and then what about blessings? Because there was a case of one of my friends. He said that whenever somebody came to their house, their parents would always serve them with prasadam. And so he was traveling for his job. He was a maintenance engineer and he used to travel places around the world. And he said, wherever I went, I always had good prasadam to eat. So he was considering that as a blessing that, because of his parents feeding everyone who came to their house, he was reaping it. So
yeah,
I was considering this.
Blessings are like water. They go from up to down. Sins are like smoke. They go from down to up.
Okay, now I'm clear. Okay, got it. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for the clarification.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Jyoti Mataji, please go ahead with your question.
She's not there. I think Lalitangi Mataji is.
Yeah, Lalitangi Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for a very enlightening and introspective class. So, my question is about Narayana Kavacha and how, we saw that how it is requesting protection from the Lord. But the irony is the person who taught it was not protected by that Vishwarup had to be killed by Indra. So I'm just wondering if you can share some light on that.
Well, I think Narayan Kavach, they got it from Vishwarup, isn't it?
I think so. If anybody else can confirm.
Narayan Kavach. Yeah, perhaps.
Can I share the Mataji?
What's that?
Yes. Yeah, please.
The chapter.
Okay, anyway, if you know that, anybody knows that, I don't know. But Vishnu was supposed to be doing that young hand. Okay, yes, from Vishwarup only. Balram Prasad Prabhu says, okay, fine. So, yeah, if Narayan Kavach he got from Vishnu, they are sharing this protection from this steel and this 6-syllable mantra. After dictation, one must offer prayers. It doesn't say anything. Narayan Kavach, leader of demigods, inquired about the harmonious from Vishwarup. Yeah, he got it from Vishnu. Fine, it's done. So yeah, so he got from Vishnu. So your question is, Vishnu was not saved now, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, if you can.
Well, I mean to say, he gave Narayan Kavach, but he couldn't be saved. So often it happens, person who brings nectar, he cannot drink it. It happens like that. Somebody else takes it. He knew Narayan Kavach and he gave it to demigods. These rishis, what is the rishis? They can see through these mantras. And that's the meaning of rishis. So he probably might have been taught Narayan Kavach through his father, Tvashta. And he got this, and he was realized in this, he could see the power of this mantra. But you know what, rishis don't use these mantras for themselves.
Oh.
They never do that because that will amount to selfishness. So, and that's a rule. If they get some power, they're not supposed to use that power for themselves. It's also in astrology. Anybody who's expert astrologer is not supposed to see his own astrology. That's adharma, that's sin. And it's same with all the powers. So that is why he didn't use it. And when Christ was crucified, so people started saying, well, he has saved so many people. Now why doesn't he save himself? So then Christ said, yes, I do not want to save myself, because that will be an act of selfishness in the eyes of God. So that's the point with rishis. They cannot use these powers for themselves, for their own protection. Otherwise, they lose it. They lose it instantly. So he didn't do that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wow. That's so wonderful. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Anand Vilas Prabhuji, please go ahead with your question, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
This verse, Raso Amapsu Kaunteya, I struggle a little bit understanding this, because part of it is water and rest is light, and which is easy to understand. When we say ras, is it taste only, or does it mean the basis of life also, right? It's very fascinating, beautiful for me verse.
See, this line has many meanings to it. External meaning is, of course, taste. Literal meaning, okay, taste of water. But we know water is tasteless.
Tasteless.
So then what Krishna is saying? So then this means if the interpretation contradicts with empirical observation, then that thing has to be reinterpreted. That's a rule of Sanskrit. So that means here ras will indicate something else, not taste, because empirically it's tasteless. So then Krishna becomes wrong. So here ras, what does that ras means? So here ras means, as you said, the vitality which water carries to support life. As you said, just one meaning is this. So I am the taste. I am the ras in water. The water is life, by the way Veda says. Apaha jivanam. We can live without food, but we cannot live without water. Of course, Vedas also say anna jivanam. Food is life, water is life. So in that context, rasa means here the energy and the vitality which water carries. One meaning. Another meaning here, which is an esoteric meaning, is rasam apsu kaunteya. Apsu, water also indicates, let's see, water also indicates ecstasy, devotion.
Oh, okay.
In Bhakti Shastras, water indicates devotion. So just like water flows, devotion flows, isn't it? And that is why it is said, Arituki apratihata, and Prabhupada says, just like a stream keeps on flowing, devotion keeps on flowing like water. It cannot be stopped. So, rasam apsu kaunteya. Krishna says, the ecstasy you feel in devotion, that is me. The pleasure you feel in devotion, that is me. So that's the internal meaning of raso apsu kaunteya.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. There are some questions in the chat box, Prabhu. Can I read those questions, Prabhu? Do you have time?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Swargalok is a lok of Punya Atma. Can a pure devotees live in Swargalok, or is Indra Mukta?
Yeah, why not? I mean, so what about Brahma? Brahma is also in this material world. They are all pure devotees. In Swarga, there can be pure devotees. Shiva is also there in Kailash. So they're all Varun, Agni. Vayu is a pure devotee. Madhva Sampradaya, if you say Vayu is not a pure devotee, they'll kill you. They'll just chop your head. Vayu is there in Swarga. Garud, he also there is there. Narad Muni is traveling all around the world. He's a pure devotee. So it doesn't matter.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And Mataji, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. What is the benediction for women given as Indra has distributed sin to them? As here in this verse, we see water is pure even though it's given the sin by Indra. Same way, what's the benediction for women?
Is there in the previous verse, isn't it? Just previous to this, woman was given benediction that she can enjoy sexual desires anytime she wants. That's what the benediction was given, even while in pregnancy.
And you said Vishnu is the brother of Vamanadev. Can you please elaborate, Prabhuji?
Well, Vaman Leela happened, and Vishnu came as Vamandev, as son of Aditi and Kashyap. And in that sense, he becomes younger brother because the first progeny of the first son of Aditi and Kashyap is Indra and all demigods. And then Vaman came. So in that whole sequence, he becomes a younger brother, Upendra.
Hope that answers your question, Anta Mataji. Monica Mataji has a question. Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for the wonderful class. Many doubts got cleared. I have a question. Material people or sinful people like politicians, celebrities donate money for social welfare works or food distribution. If the money is earned by sinful activities or illegally, will the people who take the donated money or take food which is distributed by them, by that money, will they get the bad karma of the donor?
No, if they offer to Krishna, then everything is over, and then you can distribute. Otherwise, if it's not offered to Krishna, anyway, even if it's not sinful, it becomes sinful if it's not offered. So anyway, everything is sinful which is not offered. So that's why you have to offer and then distribute.
Almost we have, I see one more raised hand here. Prabhuji, please go ahead. Well, I'm going to look at this.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for the wonderful class. Prabhuji, my question is, you were expressing like how killing a Brahmana is, one will incur sin according to the Dharma Shastras. When Dronacharya was killed in the Mahabharata war, right, by Draupad's son, right, Dushidumna. So does Dushidumna also incur sin because he's killing the Brahmana who's Dronacharya? Or is it like, because he's acting according to Krishna's instructions?
Yeah, he's acting according to Krishna, that's why he's not incurring sins. And this, by the way, this war was fought for the benefit of the world, and Krishna said you fight, and it's no sinful. So that was the whole point.
So this is an exception, right? It's a big exception because they're all acting according to Krishna as well. Otherwise, at any cost, if a Brahmana
otherwise you'll get sins. Yeah, you have to partake sins.
Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prahand Prabhuji, please go ahead with your question.
Dhanavad Pranam Prabhuji, and then Pranam to all. I don't have a question. Throughout this lecture, two slokas are kind of coming into my mind, as a devotee or trying to become a devotee or a servant of Lord Krishna, Prabhupada Maharaj, like that. I feel that, Bhagavan Krishna will help me in progressing. Other sloka is Tattenukam Pamsu Samiksmanu Bhunjan Evatmaputam Pipaka. I have done so many sins this life and maybe so many previous. But Tattenukam Pam, Bhagavan Krishna will, and then Brahmaji also says that, Yasvindra Gopam Matvendra Mahusu Karma Bandhanu Falkaj Karmani Nirvahti Kintu Bhakti Vaya. So I'm just trying to balance this. That let me suffer my sins. Lord Krishna will do his, mercy part of it. Just like that, had two fingers running short when Mother Yasoda was trying to bind Lord Shri Krishna. One is Parishram, the other is mercy. So, these are the two factors which play so much, my life and everyone devotee's life. So this was really a nice discourse, and I'm so grateful for this. Dhanavad Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Gail Mataji has raised her hand. I don't know if it is from the previous or she has one more question.
No, yeah, I do actually. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, Prabhu, this verse, some Prabhu just asked you about that Sarvadharma Parityajya verse, in Gita. And you were telling him, you referred him to the purport to explain, all this Sarvadharma thing. So my understanding is that Sarvadharma refers to dharmas that we perform for the sake of some selfish interest.
Yeah, you're right. Because dharma for selfish interest, that is also a speculation. Dharma is only for Krishna.
So, but you say other dharmas is...
Yeah, I told, abandon all speculated dharmas.
Yeah, but we don't think of all these other dharmas as speculative, as if, because speculative implies, something that comes out of one's own imagination.
Yeah, so that is imagination. Bhagavatam begins with that. Performing dharma for some benefits, that is simply an imagination. Is not there in Vedas. It's an imagination of philosophers. It's an imagination of rishis.
But what about karma kanda?
Yeah, the karma kanda is imagination of who is that karma kanda? Who gave karma kanda? Gemini. It's imagination. It's not there in Vedas. It's imagination of Gemini, who is imposing his imagination on Vedas. And he's saying there is a karma kanda section in Vedas, but then all Vaishnavacharya says it is his imagination that there's karma kanda section in Vedas. There's no karma kanda in Vedas. It's only devotion.
Oh my God!
But the idea was the section of Vedas he used to actually substantiate his karma kanda. That section later came to be known as karma kanda section. But actually, there's no karma kanda in that.
Okay, which section are you referring to?
This is so Vedas are divided into 4 parts. Brahmana, Aranakya, and so the first 2 sections of Vedas, Brahmanas and Samhitas. Those and Brahmana, Samhitas, and also Aranakya, first 3 sections, they are karma kanda sections. Because why? Because Jaimini, he didn't use Upanishads to actually support his theory of karma kanda, because you can't use Upanishads to support theory of karma kandas, because Upanishads go anti to karma kanda's theory. So he used the first 3 sections, and he used his own imagination to come up with this philosophy of karma kanda. And then he came to people, he said, hey, look, this theory is in the first 3 sections of Vedas, but it was not there. And then people thought that section is trying to teach karma kanda, but that was not the case. He was imposing his own imagination on that section. And so Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, they came later and they said, hey, Jaimini, there is no karma kanda section. It is his imagination imposed on that section. Those sections are also talking about devotion.
Oh my God. This is so, every time you come on, you say something else revolutionary. Oh my God. I mean, but this point is even propagated in ISKCON that
it's there. I mean, to say people, it's there in society, it's there in all there. That's okay, that's fine. I mean, to say in so publicly we say like that, and that is fine enough. But internally we have to understand. Internally we have to understand there is no karma kanda section. Externally we can say that that's okay, because that's promoted in the society. It's like that. It's being said. Prabhupada also said that. But if we really go internally and understand, then we can understand there's no karma kanda section. And Prabhupada later explains that, although he says there's karma kanda section, jnana kanda section, but later in Bhagavatam he explains there is no karma kanda, there is no jnana kanda, and that's obvious because Krishna says in Gita, Vedaisha sarved aham eva vedyo, by all Vedas I am to be known. So then Prabhupada says, well, if all Vedas Krishna is to be known, then where is karma kanda section? There is no karma kanda section. So Prabhupada speaks of all these intricacies in Gita. publicly we say this, otherwise people say, come on, you know. So to put it things simply, okay, karma kanda section, jnana kanda, this, and bhakti, okay, fine. But really the case is the other way around. That's how it goes.
Yeah, Prabhuji, then in Bhagavad Gita it says that one should not be, get the flowery language of
Yeah. That verse is there. Trigunne Vishaya Veda Nistriguna Bhava Arjuna Ved Vatrata Partha Pushpitam Vacha. Isn't it that verse? So,
yeah.
but there Krishna is saying that explanation is, don't be deluded by the flowery language of Vedas. Why Krishna is saying this? Because Vedas is not talking about Karma Kanda section, but Vedas, this is a very intricate question. See, Vedas, any stuti is there in Vedas, like for Rigveda, suppose if you read Agni Sukta or Varun Sukta, in the end it might be written that, so it is written that this Varun Sukta and Agni Sukta, if you read this, the result of this is heavenly planets. It's there. It is there. That's no doubt. But what Jaimini did is, Jaimini said you should read it for attaining heavenly planets. But Vedas are not saying that. Vedas are not saying that you should read it to attain heavenly planets. They are saying if you read it, the result is heavenly planets. But Upanishads are saying you should not read them to attain heavenly planets. It is the glorification of that stuti, just like holy name. We say holy name, by chanting holy name, you can get liberation, you can get all results of religious principles, you can get everything, but we don't chant for getting. So in Vedas, all these results are glorification of those phrases, but that's not the goal of those phrases. That's the whole idea. So flowery language, Krishna says, don't be entangled in the flowery language. Don't think that these stutis are directed to attain the heavenly planets. Don't do that. Otherwise you'll be entangled. Just see them as the praises and glorification, and chant these stutis to praise Krishna, which is meant, that's what they're meant for. So that's why Krishna says, don't be entangled in those. So there is no karma kanda there. Karma kanda is the speculated, imaginative nonsense philosophy. And that's when Narottam Das Thakur says, karma kanda, jnana kanda, keval vishayira bhanda. It's all poison. So that's how those verses has to be understood.
Wow. That's so amazing. So amazing. Okay, Prabhu. And also, another take on, switching topics, another take on this pure water, right? Well, for one thing, I need a little help with understanding better. You say that how to reconcile our experience of the tastelessness of water with Krishna's statement that he is the taste of water. So one answer you gave is that by taste, Krishna means the vitality that's afforded. That's one interpretation.
Yeah.
And then another, I don't know why he would call vitality taste, for one thing, but
actually, wait. He's not calling taste. The translation we are putting as taste, because that's okay. Acharyas are putting, Prabhupada also writes as taste. But rasa, technically rasa means vitality in Sanskrit dictionary. It means taste. It also technically means the essence of life. That's also rasa means technically. So but you might ask a valid question. Your question is valid. Why Krishna is leaving people in such an ambiguity? So I mean to say, for if he wanted to say I am the vitality of water, he could have used some other word. Why only rasa, which can be interpreted as taste also? That's a very valid question. Why speaking in such an ambiguous language where we have to think, this rasa is not taste, this is that vitality? Why is doing that? He's doing on a purpose, because he's saying I am the taste of water, and people will not experience that taste. Am I right? Because water is tasteless.
Yeah.
So he is trying to say that because people cannot taste the taste of water, he is trying to say that actually normal, ordinary man, he is not connected to me. That's why he cannot see me everywhere. That's his whole point there.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that was the point that I needed clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another take on this is, I heard from one Maharaj who was explaining this thing to, because he had the experience, I think maybe it was in the Himalayan mountains or something. He had the experience of pure water, right? And there he understood this verse because it was the first time he experienced the taste of water, because it was pure, because of where he got that water from, and so he understood that the water had taste when it was uncontaminated, like unmixed with anything. When there is the purity, then there was
I think it's all very subjective language, isn't it?
Okay.
So,
Okay. Just one last thing, Prabhu, is you mentioned the list of items that were pure. So one of them was water, and that's why we use that to purify like Achaman cups and so on.
Yeah.
So then therefore technically we should be able to use honey, milk, ghee, right? To if we put a drop of any of those other things on Ashman cup, that should also purify the cup also, no?
Yeah, I mean to say honey, ghee, and milk, they are used to purify the items, by the way. If you wash your vessels with honey, it becomes pure, it is said. If you apply the honey on your body, you become pure. If you eat it, you become pure.
And therefore, too, since a pure devotee was on the list, then he should be able to purify the cup just by holding it, no?
that can happen if he's a pure devotee, but I don't know how it works. Like technically, it should be like that.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. There are a few comments in the chat box, Prabhu. I don't know. Do you have time, Prabhuji, or?
Yeah, I can read the comment if they're good.
So, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srila Guru and Gauranga. I'm out by your class and the question and answer session. Such a beautiful class. Simply amazing, Prabhuji. Revolutionary is a right word, right? And Suksagari Mataji has a comment, I think. Prabhupada repeatedly talks of Buddhi Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyana, Jnana in terms of devotional service. In fact, I was thinking the same thing is repeated. So what's the difference?
This is a question.
I don't know if this is a
Mataji
question.
also has raised her hand, actually. Tiffany Mataji.
Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Just going back to the Karmakanda question that you were just discussing with Gaurangi Mataji. We have also been told many times that the Vedas, the different sections of the Vedas were written for people with different consciousness or different levels of consciousness as well. So how I'm still really surprised by the Karmakanda comment that it doesn't really.
Actually, yeah. You know what? Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga are very different. Karma Kanda is a speculation by Jaimini. Karma Yoga is there in Vedas, and Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga are there. So Karma Yoga, so first three sections, what Jaimini said is Karma Kanda. It's not Karma Kanda, it's Karma Yoga by the way. And he speculated to Karma Kanda. That's what he did. So Karma Yoga is there. Who says it's not there? But at the same time, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, they are all devotion. Why? Because Karma Yoga, we're trying to connect with Krishna through activities. Bhakti Yoga, we are trying to connect Krishna with emotions. Jnana Yoga, we're trying to connect Krishna with knowledge. We are trying to serve Krishna with actions, emotions, and knowledge, and service is Bhakti. So that's why all the Vedas are talking only about devotion. Like that.
Okay, but so you're saying that these separations or the different levels are in regard to yoga, in regard to the
No, actually there are no different levels. There are different modes of expression of service.
Okay.
So when service is expressed in terms of action, that is called karma yoga. And service is expressed in emotions, it's bhakti yoga. And expressed in jnana, it's jnana yoga, knowledge. So that way, if you understand, then that's a perfect understanding of Vedic literatures.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for clearing that up. I appreciate it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
But Prabhu, you wouldn't say that there's karma yoga. One way of approaching Krishna is
no.
a gradual progression from karma yoga to jnana yoga to bhakti yoga. You wouldn't. That's not there.
That's there. That's also there. If we understand from a different capacity, that's you see that's another question. It is there, but it's not there also. Why? Because this progression of karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, and bhakti yoga, this progression is due to. So it's not due to because karma yoga is lower and bhakti yoga is higher. It's due to because of the consciousness of the practitioner. Because of his consciousness, he sees first karma yoga. Because of the consciousness of the practitioner, if the consciousness of the practitioner is very low, then he has to first come to actions to serve God, because he can't control his emotions. He doesn't have knowledge. When he advances, then he comes to jnana yoga. Then he's able to get knowledge, because by acting properly, his mind becomes controlled and they get knowledge. He can jnana yoga, and then with jnana yoga concentration, and then he develops emotions for God. So this whole stratification is because of the consciousness of the person and not inherent per se in those processes. But if a person is elevated, for him, all the processes are same level. They're actually same. That's why Krishna says, Sankhya Yoga Pritak Bala Pravadantina Pandita. Krishna's only child say that Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are different at different levels. Childish people. So for childish people, it might be there, because he can't manipulate and he can't use those things. But in and of itself, they're all at same level. They're all one. There's no difference. That's what Krishna says. Today, in fact, in the morning, I was discussing the same verse. Krishna says, all are one. So it's like that.
Yes, actually, I've heard this before, this take on it before too, but not, anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Prabhuji, Anand Vilas Prabhuji is asking me a question. I think Sarma Dharma means including the Varnashrama Dharma too?
No. Sarma Dharma means speculative dharmas. Varnashrama Dharma is not speculation. It's there mentioned in the Vedas.
Mataji has very grateful and eternally grateful to you, Prabhuji, and million thanks for your teachings. And Megha Mataji also is commenting, saying that what a great explanation about everything you have mentioned, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. I don't see any more raised hands and any comments more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
Let's pay our obeisance to Prabhuji. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Koti Vaishnavji Jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class and
Keshavanand Prabhu ki jai ho.
to understand.